Hey guys, it's Welps. So the TL devs did their second live video on the 9th of January, and I'm just gonna go over and summarize it in this video. So yeah, first of all, they increased the event rank pool from 100 to 150, so more people can get the reward. They're gonna be balancing event rewards, basically decreasing rank 1 reward. Rank 1 was getting too much reward, so they're gonna try to reduce that and try to like evenly spread out the rewards. And the event participation and lucky reward gonna be doubled. They're also looking to add other sources of marine. They are keep monitoring the supplies of marine, and this is already in effect, by the way. The reward change. They talk about class imbalance in events. So basically, right now, if you do highest damage on a mob, that's your loot. And that became a problematic. So that they're changing the loot drop rate. It's gonna be based on your contribution. So if like 2 people attack the same mob and one does 80% damage, you're gonna have 80% chance to drop. If you do 20% damage, you will have 20% chance to drop. It's a good change, at least. It's a good step in the right direction. More weapon balance patch incoming. They didn't have time to do all last week, they said. So it's gonna focus on GS and staff again. So GS relies on stun to do more damage with your follow-up attacks. So to like targets like bosses you couldn't stun, you weren't able to do those extra damage. So instead, if you can't stun, you're gonna apply debuff called a shock, and you're gonna be it's gonna be the same thing as a stun basically. So you do more damage to targets with the shock with a follow-up attack. And staff heavily relies on the weather, monsters being wet, for you to do more damage. This will change. These two will change on 17th. So briefly, staff will have their frost skills, add a debuff called chill, which is gonna do the same thing as a wet. You can find these changes in the patch note. I'll have the patch note in the description. They talked about crossbow, dagger, bow being high in damage due to crit. These weapons are based on crit, and compared to that, GS staff had low DPS. So they're gonna be making GS staff to be more like a heavy attack weapon. So they're gonna increase their DPS based around heavy attacks. Skill transfer is gonna be updated on 17th. So you'll have to buy a transfer scroll. You can buy the first 10 for 1000 sollant each, and then more can be purchased with lucent. Only the same rank skills can be transferred. So basically the skills that started with green can be transferred to the ones that started with green. 3 skill preset will be added on 17th for free. Resistant event on 24th. It's basically gonna be a 3-day event with 2 highest scored events, just your normal regional events, getting calculated per day for the rank at the end of event period. If you participate at least 2 events, you get a new skill. They're gonna be combining offensive stats like ranged melee magic hit into just hit. So it's just gonna be hit, crit, and heavy attack. I think it's a really good change. There's gonna be more build diversity. That's gonna happen at the end of January. Server merge is gonna be happening on 17th. Every server will have population like didnt. Didnt is like the main server. 21st February, dungeon matchmaking within the server will be added. On 6th of March, server transfer will be available. 24th April, cross-server dungeon matchmaking is going to be available. For the first castle siege, servers will have different siege dates. Dates will be chosen between February 2nd and 4th. They're going to give us more details about the siege before the siege. So basically, different servers will have different siege dates. Some will have on 2nd, some will be on 3rd, some will be on 4th. Party loot is no longer based on contribution. Everyone has equal chance, really good change. They're working on removing other player effects for performance. After opening dungeon chest, you will get item drop increase buff on 17th. This is to help active players who is grinding rather than bots. They said that it was too dangerous to just increase the overall drop rate of the field monsters because the bots gonna benefit from that the most. Someone brought up reflect damage being too high on chat, and their response was that they are also concerned about the damage, but they're not gonna touch on the reflect mechanic of counter barrier. The counter barrier is basically the reflect damage is based on your damage reduction stat. So instead, they'll be touching on skills that drastically increases damage reduction, like Indomitable Armor in GS. This was pretty much making the reflect damage go through the roof. They also mentioned about their optimization. Their way of optimization is to not show characters. But they realized that that wasn't a good idea, as the MMO content doesn't feel like MMO, such as Arc Bosses, for example, where it has mass amount of people, but you could only see like few people around you. And they also think that it'll also affect Castle Siege experience, so they are looking other ways to optimize, like options to simplify character models or removing skill effects of others. Da Vinci had 1.1k players on Arc Boss. New skins will be added on 17th. And when they were saying this, they were pretty confident about it, because so many people are complaining the skins are shit, which is kind of true. So yeah, we'll see. They were really confident when they were saying this. Monster fall damage will not be part of your contribution, so you can't cheese that anymore. Backspace, they are looking to increase the backspace, but maybe with the cost of a solid or lucent. The Shikon wand, the wand you get from the weapon box, is deemed useless because it's a mana reduction on hit. So they are thinking of patching it next week, probably 17th. By the way, this is all just on-the-spot answers from questions from the chat during the live. Mastery is still gonna stay at 7 for now. They want to balance the weapons more first. They are prioritizing making new 6-man instance dungeons rather than the solo ones, and new dungeons will be more. The chat auto-translate feature will be added on 17th. This was actually in the closed beta. This was really handy. Basically, if you just turn this on, every text will be translated. So if you choose English, every text you see on a chat will be translated to English. XP restoration cost will be reduced on 17th. They are looking at reducing it by 50%, but it's not actually fully confirmed, but yeah, we'll see. They're also aware of the stress the players are getting from these costs, mainly for PvP players. So if you keep dying, it's demotivating to like rest and come back to the fight because how expensive they are. And some people don't know, like if you max level, why do you need to restore XP? So if you have 20 stacks of non-restored XP debuff, you start to get debuff. It's like minus 10% slow and minus 10% damage, which is pretty big. So you'll have to keep restoring this XP even if you're max level. Mystic Portal buff on 17th. Marine will be added to Mystic Portals. Good change. They have no plans to increase Ally Guild limit. They plan to increase max level cap next major content update with the new zone sollant. This is pretty much gonna happen like about March or April. They're gonna be increasing sollant gain from contracts on 17th, so I'm saving my contracts till then. And current open world dungeon balance is based on 6-man full party, and they are also looking to make some changes on it, but want it to remain group content. So yeah, the mobs in like the Crypt and Lizard, they have like 40k, 50k HP. Is meant to grind with party. But party grind right now is so inefficient that people don't party grind. So yeah, they really need to change these. DPS meta was mentioned again, but they said it's not their priority. In the last dev video, they said that they're gonna be making contribution meta instead of DPS meta, and I think that's good. PvP contents, they are looking to rework around the Riftstone and Boonstones, and also thinking about making it more rewarding, but they didn't want to make it too rewarding so that PvE players get left out. they don't want to affect PvE players, so they're being careful about it. But future updates, the PvP is gonna be based on like Riftstone and Brimstone. They're also gonna be making PvP gear and PvE gear in the future, and they're gonna be talking about it after Siege when they have more details. So like they said that there's already a stat in the game from the food buff, you know, PvP hit, PvP crit, and the boss hit, boss crit. So those stats are gonna be like implemented into the gear, I think. So you'll have to get like PvE gear from PvE content, PvP gear from PvP content. We'll see. And yeah, that's pretty much it. 17th is gonna be a pretty big patch. A lot of good changes. Most of these changes have been from players' feedback so far, and it has been so quick. Really liking these changes. Also really like how they communicate with the chat in these live videos. Like half of these was just answering the chat questions. And they know what they're talking about and they explain those changes. Like, yeah, been really good. Anyway, thanks for watching. GG's. I'll leave the link to the patch note, the 10th January patch note in the description.